on your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
You are listening to Jambo Radio. You can now download the Jambo Radio mobile app on your smartphone from the App Store, Google Store, or Play Store. You can now use our Jambo Radio app on your smart mobile phone or device to contact us and also send us your song request. Now it's time for our weekly magazine show, the BB African Magazine.
Welcome to BB's African News Magazine show on Jambo Radio Scotland, where we bring you the good news and talk to the people leading positive change relevant to the Scottish African diaspora, the African diaspora in the UK and beyond. I'm George Da, sitting in for your regular favorite BB. We've got a great lineup for you today, including an exclusive interview with the author of a brand new book on matrimony. I Do or I Don't, Delley Singah joins us live in a moment from her base in London. Stay tuned. At 12 noon, we go into our phone-in topic, which is, of course, looking at in recent years, people of ethnic minority backgrounds have risen to great political power here in the UK and Scotland. In the United Kingdom, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is of Indian origin. And here in Scotland, the First Minister, Hamza Yousaf, is of Pakistani background. Despite this historical and magnificent achievement of people from immigrant communities, people of ethnic minority continues to be targeted and disproportionately affected by immigration policies like the enormous increase in visa fees for foreign students to study, stay or bring their relatives to visit or join them in the country. So our phone-in topic today is, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else given the opportunity? Let's hear your opinion at 12 noon. Call Jambo Radio Studio Direct on 0141 430 2787. That is 0141 530 2787, or you can text the studio on 0745 990 6822, and you can also send a WhatsApp message, the same number, that is 0745 990 6822. That's on the phone in as from 12 after the news. And right now, I'm joined in the studio by Padam Singh, the funding capacity consultant for SEMVO, which is the Council for Ethnic Minority Voluntary Organizations here in Scotland, and here to talk about the Ethnic Minority Development Fund. Welcome, Mr. Padam Singh.
Yes, thank you, George. Thank you for...
So what is the Ethnic Minority Development Fund about?
Right, okay, so... the Ethnic Minority Development Fund is basically, I've been on Radio Jambo before.
Yes.
So now I've got a new position as a funding capacity consultant. So what that means is I am responsible for a pot of money, which I'm hoping that ethnic minority groups and organisations can apply for. So the Ethnic Minority Development Fund is grant money which ethnic minority-led groups can apply for. So that could be charities, it could be small community groups, it could be religious institutes, as long as they got a constitution and a bank account. So basically this is about delivering projects to ethnic minority communities in Scotland. So it's Scotland only. If you're based in England, you can't apply for it.
And what is the amount that's available?
Yep, so that's a good question. So the amount available is from £500 to £15,000, and that is to deliver a 1-year project.
And when is the application process?
So basically, the fund opens on Monday, the 12th of February. So you'll be able to download an application form from the SEMVO website, which I'm sure you'll give the information about. However, and the closing date is the 15th of April 2024. So in effect, it gives groups and organisations plenty of time, around about 2 months, to think about what project they want to apply for. And also we're there to support them. However, there are 3 criteria for groups to at least to fit into one of them. So the first criteria is to bring ethnic minority people together to build strong relationships across communities, which is quite a wide criteria. Second one is to help more ethnic minority people be the best they can be by supporting them. And the third criteria is to improve places and spaces that matter to ethnic minority people. So these are quite wide criteria, and I'm sure ethnic minority groups or organisations can fit into them. However, it's really important, I must stress, that communities must be involved in developing the project, because we need to know that you're delivering a project to communities to help them improve their lives.
That's right.
So we need to know that have they been consulted with, have they been involved. You need to provide evidence of that, because if you just don't involve them and just submit an application form thinking that this is a good project but there's been no consultation, then it won't succeed, unfortunately. So it is really important that communities are involved.
Okay, and there has to be a constituted group. It doesn't...
Yes, it has to be basically you can have a governance document, any type of document saying what is your group. It can't be just like Padam, Singh, samosa services. It has to be a group that is about supporting communities. So obviously we understand that people in the community know what is best for them and what they need, what the issues are. So sometimes people come together to address gaps in service or support each other. So all they need to do is to show to us that they have a governance, some sort of governing document, and also that they have a bank account in the name of their group. So if it's about supporting disabled people, so the bank account has to reflect that. We're looking for at least they should be able to tell us that they have a bank account getting set up. If they have a bank account and they're very new and it's just getting set up, all they need to do is give us a letter from the bank saying yes, this is a community group and they're setting up the bank account.
Okay, can organizations or groups that want to apply, would they get assistance to complete the application form?
Yes, George, they will. We want to encourage more low capacity groups, small groups, because they don't have much funding experience. They're a bit intimidated from applying for the big funding through lotteries or Robertson Trust or some other funding institutes. So we want to help them to get onto the funding ladder. So of course we will help them. We can't give them the idea, we can't lead them, but all we can do is advise them and say to them, look, this is where you need to strengthen your application form, and yes, there is help available from myself. They can contact me, they can contact my colleagues at Jambo Scotland. We will help them. There's 2 months to apply for that funding, plenty of time, and we can develop that application form with them so that they don't miss a deadline.
Okay, and I think what the other question I'll follow up on that will be, once people apply, when should they find out?
Okay, George. So basically, the closing date is the 15th of April, and last year, we had 137 organisations and groups apply for the funding. So we need to go through every single application form with a fine-tooth comb to make sure that they meet all the criteria that so that we can kind of progress them through the next stages. So that sometimes takes around about 2 months to do that. So the ones that get through, we hopefully they will know by mid-June, end of June, that they've got the money
around June time. Okay.
But importantly, George, I must stress that sometimes, they apply, they put in good projects, but they haven't completed their application form properly. They haven't submitted key information that we need. Although this time we will try to encourage them to make sure that they've completed it properly, that they're meeting the criteria, that they are providing the evidence. But they can do stupid things like, we don't have a bank account. They fill in the form, they submit it, and then in the end they'll say, oh, we don't have a bank account. And if they don't have a bank account, unfortunately, that rules them out.
Okay. So they shouldn't start the process at all if they don't have a bank account.
Yeah.
Okay. So other information, obviously, that's available for how people can get in touch. It's do you have the information there? How people can get in touch? With yourself?
So basically, just before we go to that,
yes,
the application forms they'll be able to download from the Semvo website on Monday.
Okay.
And there are two application forms: a standard one and a kind of accessible, easy read one. They're both really simple to fill in. We're not asking them to complete complicated application forms.
It's not 10 pages of...
No. It's very easy information. It's really easy to fill in, and we're there to help them if they don't have the confidence. So basically, as I said, it'll be available on Monday, and they can download...
So that's from this Monday?
Yeah.
Monday.
So they can download applications from www.cemvoscotland.org.uk. So CEMVO Scotland.org.uk. They can call us on 0141 248 4830. They can email me directly at emdf@cemvoscotland.org.uk. And I'm happy to explain the whole process. We're really keen. I want to see more small groups coming to us, small groups that perhaps are a bit isolated.
Composed of, what when you say small groups?
Small groups,
like
the small
5, 10 people?
New communities, Somalian community, Eritrean community, Bangladeshi communities, the ones that are kind of on the margins, but they are trying to help their community to settle in Scotland, improve their lives. We want to hear from them, and we will certainly try to help them.
Excellent, that's good. So if you have a question, and if you're watching or listening anywhere on DAB or on the mobile app and also online, you want to have a question for Padam Singh, he is here for the next few minutes, for the next couple of minutes. So you can send your questions. You can either DM us on Facebook, WhatsApp. Do you DM on WhatsApp? Yeah, you can send us a message on WhatsApp, and you can also DM your questions if you have any for Padam Singh, who is here in the studio with us. So if you're following the show on Facebook, wherever you are, we are on Jambo Radio Scotland Facebook page live, and you can also send us a tweet or DM us on our Twitter page, which is Jambo Radio Scott, and our Instagram page is Jambo Radio Scotland. So Jambo Radio Scotland for Instagram page. So Padam is still here, and you got all the information. So the funding, he's a funding capacity consultant for Semvo Scotland, and he's talking about the Ethnic Minority Development Fund, which is opening on Monday, this coming Monday, and the fund is basically available for small groups as long as you're constituted and you have a bank account in the group's name. That is most important. And just to kind of recap as well, that the contact details for Padam Singh is, if you want to send him an email, is EMDF. That's E for Echo, Mike, Delta, Falls. And of course at semvo.co.uk. That's Semvo is CEMVO Scotland.co.uk. Sorry, I'm going .co.uk. I don't know where I'm seeing that from, but anyway, so you get the gist. And the telephone number for the office, Semvo's office, is 0141 248 4830. And to apply, you can download an application from the Semvo Scotland website, which is www.semvoscotland.org.uk. That's thank you very much, Padam Singh, for coming into the studio.
Thank you, George. It's always a pleasure coming to Radio Jambo.
Yeah.
I always love it.
And we're great to always have you on, and thank you so much for the collaboration. I think if there's anything that you want to add on the information in terms of the application for the Ethnic Minority Development Fund, please do so.
Yeah, just to say, apply for the funding because we know that groups really struggle to access funding to help the community. And basically, the most important thing is, although it doesn't sound like a great deal of money, maximum is up to £15,000 for a 1-year project. But what importantly about that is that it actually gets them onto the funding kind of ladder, gets them onto the first rung of the funding ladder. They can also apply for other funding through other sources, and we're also available to help them as well. We're not just helping them for this Ethnic Minority Development Fund. If they apply in the future to Robinson's Trust or National Lottery Community Fund, we can help them, and also most importantly, they will have a track record. They've applied for funding, which actually funders look at because they know that they have applied for funding, they've supported their communities, they've used the money well, and that gives them a little bit advantage to get money in the future, you know.
Thank you very much, Padam Singh. You are the financial consultant. The funding capacity consultant.
It's a long name.
Yes,
just call me the man with the money.
The man with the money. Yeah. You're the man with the money. That's right. So you're the man with the money, and people can come to you and contact you with regard to this fund. So they can apply for up to 15,000 for a 12-month project. Yeah. Does that include social enterprise?
It includes community interest companies. And I think if your project is about, supporting communities, so you can talk to us, come to us, and we'll see if we can fit you in.
That's right. So if you haven't yet, download our Jambo Radio app and go to Google Play, and of course on the App Store you can download the Jambo Radio app. Just type in Jambo Radio on any of those apps, and you'll be able to get access to the app in case you're watching on Facebook or you're on YouTube or on our website as well. So we are available on DAB in Glasgow and Edinburgh. Today is surrounded by all your loved ones. I choose you to be my wife or husband, whoever you're talking to. I'm proud to be your wife or husband and join my life with yours. I vow to support you, inspire you, and love you always. For as long as we both shall and will be, I will be on your side. For better or worse, in sickness and in health, for richer or poorer. That's some of the questions, Baron, you'll be asked sometime, maybe your girlfriend, or if you have one, and we'll speak to you sometime soon, okay? And you have to focus when you're listening, okay? So I Don't is a revolutionary book that shows singles how to make emotional intelligence relationship decisions and couples how to keep their relationship on track. The book dissects the journey into matrimony, overlaying it with fundamental guiding principles that each person must follow before saying I do or I don't. We are now joined by the author of that book, Delley Singah. Good morning and welcome to Jambo Radio, Delley Singah. How are you? I think I'm struggling to hear you there. You might be on mute. I'm not sure.
No, I'm not mute.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I can hear you now. Okay, how are you?
I'm great.
Wonderful.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Excellent. That's good. It's good to have you on the show and good to have you on Jambo Radio. So you've written this book that's available now on Amazon. And what prompted you to write a book about matrimony?
Oh wow, a lot of reasons. from the plethora of cases that I've received on my counseling platform on social media, the statistics of divorce around the world, it's my personal experiences, and of course the experiences of others, and then research that I've done on this particular topic. I thought it was only fair for me to do justice to that topic.
Yeah, and what do you hope the content of this book will achieve?
I'm hoping that singles especially would be able to read it, dissect it, and make emotionally intelligent before journeying into matrimony. And also, obviously, use it to rekindle that spark that was lost in their marriages.
Right, I've looked at. I mean, I've read the book, and it's quite interesting. I can see that being a female author and writer, and from the work that you've been doing in terms of your media platforms, is quite the feminist perspective, female perspective of the context that is absolutely there. Do you think that the book is open as well for men or boys?
Of course, it's not gender biased. I'm not even sure where you're coming from with that.
Well, I think
this touch on feminism.
Yeah, there's a bit of a part there where there's specific things that quite related to a single person who which to me seems more like a female that you're talking to.
Oh, I see. Oh, sorry about that. Yeah, I get it. No, the book is not gender biased, like I said. This book is for everybody, everyone, you see. So, and I was intentional about that because I think a lot of men would, they gravitate towards the idea of feminism, book talking to women and all whatnot. And I think I had to strike a balance with this because it's enough of working on one arm and leaving the other. You see what I mean? So yeah, and I think the journey into matrimony, all of that process, it's not just limited to the woman. It is equally the job of a man as well.
Yeah,
I had to factor in the male gender too. Yeah.
Absolutely. For those that may be watching on Facebook or can see the book, the book which is being shown there, that's I don't, and we're talking to the author. So according to your website, Delley, you are many things. You are an entrepreneur, an influencer, a philanthropist, and media personality. When do you get time to handle other people's trouble that you're talking in this book?
I just I try to prioritize. You see what I mean? Yeah. So it's a lot of hats, like you said, that I wear. But every day comes with its own priorities. So when it's about time for me to cancel, I have to keep aside the rest of the hats and focus on counseling. And of course, this applies to every one of the other things I do. So yeah.
Yeah, I do have a copy of my
I think
own.
I would say prioritizing for the most part.
That's right. So it's basically down to planning and stuff like that. So I'm conscious of time as well because it's quite a lot that I'll need to go through. But this is a copy of my book this is my copy here, and I have read through it. So I see there are specific themes that you're dealing on. In the book, you're looking at the kind of what sort of questions a single person should be asking themselves before they get into marriage. I think I've just looked at the kind of is it more important for people to kind of do a self-discovery, like who they want to be with, and what sort of judgment they should make, and I also saw something about courtship. And do you think courtship is a good idea as well?
It's very, very good. I would say. Now, if you look at the book, I structured it, and the subtitle of it, you realize I talked about journey, so it's a process.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it in a progressive manner. So it starts with a date with self, having to know who you are as a person properly, getting the best version of you, before you get to start dating other people.
Mm.
And when you have known yourself considerably, because of course you get to discover yourself every day. So like I said, considerably, then you can now be sure to make an informed choice of the person you want to spend your life with. Now, this now goes to having made that choice, you want to put together the different principles that would matter in courtship. So it starts with self, it goes to dating, and then it goes to selecting one person from the persons you have dated, and then you get into courtship. And of course, courtship is so important. Matter of fact, I cannot overemphasize the importance of courtship in our relationship, meaning in our journey into matrimony. So what I insist on in courtship is there's a lot you get to know. There's a lot, it moves from the superficial of the butterflies. You see what I mean? If you know what I mean by butterflies, it moves from just I love you, the physical, into something really deep. Getting to know this person beyond the physical, you get intertwined with their soul and their spirit. You see what I mean? So that is what courtship entails. You get to ask much more than just the superficial questions, and you get into deeper realms. And these are the things I talked about in the book. So I would love for people to get to read it, to digest it, and of course to make better decisions for themselves.
Yeah, I see. I mean, there's another theme which I thought was quite important to discuss that with you, in this interview. So, in terms of intentional living, I mean, would that mean before you get into a relationship with anyone, you should be thinking about, if you decide that you're going to live together, you have to make those choices, based on whether it is intentional or you're going to give it a go, and then if it doesn't work, you move out. Where is the direction of this intentional living? What are you trying to imply in terms of that theme?
Right. If you've noticed, I teach on social media, my followers, and the hashtag for 2023, matter of fact, 2022, 2023, and 24 has been intentional living. Now, I do this every year just to underscore the importance of what we're dealing with. Now, I use intentional living because I think a lot of people are not intentional. The difference between one person and the other is the intentionality that one person goes with, compared to that which is missing in the other person. When I talk about intentionality, I'm talking about purposefully living. So there are people who get into relationships for the fun of it. There are others who get into relationships because they're bored and for varied reasons. But when I talk about journeying into matrimony, I'm talking about the intentionality that comes along with it. You see what I mean? That's why I start with self. Because a lot of people start with others. What you can give to me, what you bring to the table, what I benefit from you. It's all about the other person. But intentional living is more about what I can bring to the table. It's more about what I can present that would benefit the other person. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
It's more deeper. And this is what, like I said, is missing in most relationships. And that translates to what we have in our marriages nowadays. And the reason for the chaos.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But before I ask you the next question, which I think is another theme which I saw developed throughout the book, is the values of the Christian values, which you kind of there's a lot of emphasis on that there, which are kind of really they have Bible context into it and stuff like that. What do you make of modern marriages?
What do I make of modern marriages? I think it's one of the reasons why I had to write this book, because I realized that the very essence of marriages is being taken off. I think we have almost every other thing But marriage, I mean, in terms of what we get into these days, marriage in itself is ordained by God. And if that is the manufacturer of this product, quote unquote, and you understand that, that we want to get back to him to get the manual, to better run the product. You see what I mean? And this is one of the things that I think is the intentional living I'm talking about, which a lot of modern marriages miss out on. So they want to run it based on their own ideas, their own ideologies, their standards, and of course it accounts for the reasons why it's failing. Now, I'm a Christian, and of course there's no better way to approach a book of this magnitude than using the Christocentric thought to it or approach to it. So I thought, if God is the author of this, I might as well really underscore the principles that is expected of us in this institution that He has given to us. Modern marriages, I think, are missing out, I would say, on this manual. They're missing out on these basic principles. And I thought to come in there and serve as a reminder.
It serves as a reminder. Indeed, it does serve as a reminder. I'm just trying to think. Do you think marriage is it more because you do a lot of this work? You know, you counsel couples, and of course you also talk to single people. Is it a spiritual journey in your thinking, or do you think what makes a marriage compatible?
I talked about compatibility in chapter 3 extensively. It's not just limited to the spiritual side. Now, understand that man is a tripartite being. Man is a spirit, body, and soul. And so we function in these different dimensions. And I think it's only fair that we get to understand these different dimensions properly, before we delve into it. So a lot of now, and that's where I try to strike the balance. A lot of Christians would focus more on the spiritual side. You see what I mean? So you talk about marriage and they just tell you everything spiritual. They spiritualize it. At the end of the day, Christian marriages are still breaking. Then there's a lot of the secular, I will not say carnal, let's say secular side, who are not as spiritual or not spiritual, but then they are so much on the physical and physical and physical. Again, you still see such marriages failing. And then you see these other school of thought, this group of people who focus more on the emotional side. When I talk about soul, the soul, you see what I mean? The soul is the will, the emotion. And they focus only about how I feel for you. I can't go to sleep at night, the butterflies and all of that. And you see that is still absent. And then it only tells you it has to be a blend of all of this. So you have to be grounded in all of these aspects, your physical, your spirit, and your soul, to be a complete human being. And that translates now to how the relationship is meeting with another very complete package. You see what I mean? And this is what I try to do. Knowing yourself, dating yourself, is all about understanding the spiritual aspect of you, the mental, emotional, of course, I talked about that, and then the physical side of you.
Yeah. So
when you are grounded in that,
So just
you can be tall, just as much.
That's right. So I know you're talking about the spiritual and the religious aspect of it, which is the values that you hold, and I know you're also a big a culture person. You like your culture, do you think this is conflicting? Do you think religions come into the way of traditions or cultural values that exist? I mean, I can give an example of some traditional marriages need to happen in the context of a traditional way, which means that perhaps your parents, they look for you a spouse, and then that way that becomes your women, whether both of you decide to do it a religious way or do it a traditional way, or in these days you have to do both. You have to do the traditional way. And do you think this is some of the issues about marriages or that affect couples is the fact that there is a traditional aspect and there is a religious aspect, which sometimes means when those things conflict, there is a problem.
Okay, so this is what I addressed in chapter 4. Those of you who have the book, you want to flip to chapter 4 to see this. And I'm happy you asked this question, because each time I talk as a Christian, because I'm very unapologetic about that. And I'm also unapologetic about me being an African woman and big on culture. People try to strike a balance between that. Now, understand there's a difference between being religious and being spiritual, which, of course, again, I addressed in the book, I think in chapter 3. I talked about understand when we're talking about compatibility. I spoke about balance between, being a spiritual person and being a religious person. Now, let me take it chronologically. Marriage is first and foremost God's idea, and the idea that we see in Scripture, of course, whether you're using the Quran or using the Bible, the idea of marriage was really traditional. I mean, strictly traditional. So you see, now the error religious people make, understand the difference is they try to negate the place of the tradition in marriage. You see what I mean? If we would summarize marriage into maybe an institution, I would say it's more of a traditional institution. You see, and what happens is, as long as your parents have given you out to this man or this family, as of course we understand that we don't marry individuals, we marry a family in Africa, especially. As long as you've been given out and your bride price has been accepted, you are married. God was present, your parents were present, you and the man is present, two families are present. That is the most important aspect about it. Now, the religious side of it is only a plus. It is only a plus to that. You belong to an institution, for instance, Jambo, and I talked about that because I thought before I needed to answer some questions, not just talking. You see, so I factored in this particular question, and I said, I work in an institution. You work with Jambo Radio, for instance. There's such a thing as fringe benefits because we work in this institution. And I, as Delley, regardless of the fact that I'm sitting on this platform, I don't get to benefit from the fringe benefits that Mr. George, for instance, is benefiting from. Now, those are the benefits that come along with being part of that institution. And that's why I talked about church weddings. So, in addition to you being married, customarily, then there's the fringe benefit that come along with me belonging to a particular church. And that is what garnishes it. Then the legal union, as we say, court, locally call it court. Again, that's still an aspect. You see, it is because of the lapsed traditional marriage, I would say, quote unquote, that the government or everybody, every country you belong to, says, you know what? This is what traditional couples or couples who got married traditionally, are facing. So we might as well put in this rules, these things that would help couples along their journey. So again, like I said, these are benefits that you would get. And I always say these are formalities, but they are necessary formalities that the state is putting to help your marriage. Because there's a lot of, for instance, so many people are married, the man, for instance, dies, and the woman is left with nothing. The kids get out of school, the family comes and takes up everything. That's why you see the benefits now of this side of the legal union of the signing and all of that. I'm trying to say that as long as you are married traditionally, you are married. Yeah.
Yeah, but
God is part of that union.
God is part of that union, and because the institution of marriage is divine, from what I'm hearing, what you're saying.
Right.
The other thing I wanted to ask is, you alluded on something there which is very important, which kind of follow on from my previous questions. If
Right.
those traditional rites that need to be conducted in marriage, the dowry collection, which is also seen as a spiritual thing, and then the religious side of it, where it comes in there, and then when for example, one of the spouse, or mostly the men, in the kind of most the African culture, when the man dies, and the woman probably return to the family. In some cases, or majority of cases, I'm sure you've spoken to people as a marriage counselor. I'm sure you've spoken to people that they have the same situation. How do you explain this? Where tradition is conflating with, because the dowry has been paid, two people have come together, perhaps by God has brought them together. That is the belief. And then they've gone to marry in church with the belief that God brought them together to be in a union. But the union that they've also done in the traditional marriage, or whatever it is, traditional wedding, it's also been conducted on the grounds that this union is brought together by, some gods. It might be a traditional god. It might be a traditional rite. So I'm just wondering, like, you coming from a culture where, with your own religious beliefs, your own Christian belief, how do you deal with that subject in the context of this book? How do you deal with that subject on where a lot of when that union breaks down, the next thing is, which often is the woman that is a victim, she's basically excluded from the family. So there's no the union of that of the man and that woman is not connected to the people that were involved in the traditional side of things, because not every family is religious, as you know. So how are you dealing with that subject in this book?
I think I did answer the question before this.
Before, yeah, I wasn't listening. So don't worry. No.
Yeah, so that's what I was trying to explain that. When you are married, traditionally you're married. If you look at scripture, that is what really happened. We didn't have traditional marriage, church wedding, and then a legal solemnization also. You see what I mean? We didn't have that. Like I said, it's because of the lapses that came along with the traditional bit. Let me just give an abstract example. So it is because if you look at our culture itself, as Africans, we have our own religion. However, it's because of the lapses of the culture that you would see some of the things about Christianity being embedded in it. So, or for instance, some of the aspects of the culture being taken off. So when you look at the downsides of it, you see that, okay, for instance, maybe they used to do things like killing of queens, like that's a culture. And then Christianity comes to say, no, these are God's children and all of that. You see, these things, of course, were incorporated now in our culture because it's a beautiful side. It's the same thing with marriage. The issue I talked about maybe family members coming to send the wife away. You're no longer part of us. This man is no longer there, and all of that. And then the legal solemnization of this union is saying that no, this woman has every right. This woman is still bearing the name. this woman has a marriage certificate that covers her. You see what I mean? When we talk about traditional marriages, there was no such thing as you go to court and fine. And most often, whether the man or the woman, if anything goes wrong, they suffer. Other people benefit from that union or from the breakage of that union than even the people, the spouses. You see what I mean? Or even their children. And so that's why I try to balance that as much as marriage is traditional, and as much as you are very married when you've done it traditionally, there's also the positive side of the church wedding as a Christian. Remember, I'm talking as a Christian, and also as a citizen of a given country. Because again, you could be married traditionally, and nobody comes to say, "Oh, nobody's coming to take you out of that house. You're married. People saw you. The drunk wine. They took your bride price and the rest." However, when things go so, trust me, you'll still run to these different institutions. And as much as you don't have the backing of these institutions I'm talking about, it becomes problematic to you. You see what I mean? So I try to strike a balance to make people understand you could get your pastor to your traditional wedding. The problem is we mix up everything. What the West considered their traditional marriage is what Africans who have done their traditional marriages are equally taking the tradition and the culture of the West and doing something double. You see what I'm talking about?
Right.
So no, I'm not disputing the place of the church. I'm saying the priest, the pastor, or whoever is the officiating minister can as well do that in the comfort of your homes, in the privacy of his office, in the presence of your traditional marriage ongoing. The priest could still do that. But it is because of the borrowed culture. So Africans don't know it is a borrowed culture. All of the white wedding going down the train to and bridesmaid is the same thing you've already done traditionally. If you see what I mean.
If I hear you
But
well,
we're not ready for this conversation.
okay, no,
I'm trying.
Now I was just gonna ask, given that I follow you there, I'm just gonna try to find out from you now. You said if you've done a traditional wedding, you're married.
Right.
So,
right.
Do you think it should be? Do you think if you've done traditional wedding, do you think doing another wedding in a church, in terms of Christian, is important? Do you have to do married
That's
wedding
what I was
once?
talking about. I'm saying that we have gotten married
In the
and
wrong
we're
way.
still getting married.
But I just want to know your
Okay.
opinion. Like, what would you say if you have a couple and then you talking to them as a relationship counselor that you are? What would you say to them? They say, well, you know what, we want to do the traditional thing, but we also looking at doing the religious thing because it's very important. It's very important for us. But both of them don't have any legal
I get that.
backing. You
So
see what I mean?
again, that's what I was talking about. So you have done your marriage as your traditional marriage. I said marriage, but I say traditional just so you get the difference. You've done the traditional bit. You are married. As a Christian, you want the quote unquote blessing of the church. That's how we put it. But now I use a term that you and I can understand. Fringe benefits of an institution that you belong to. You see what I'm talking about? I would advise them because at the end of the day, you're doing the same thing over and over. That's what we don't get as Africans. That white wedding and the veil and the suit and all the bridesmaids looking beautiful is a culture of a different people. So you are, in essence, doing marriage or wedding. Remember, it's wedding actually. We're just using this term interchangeably. You're doing wedding twice, double. Yeah.
Yes.
So now, for a Christian, if you really want the quote unquote blessing of the church, that's what I said. You could bring your pastor to your traditional wedding to do that, and it's still going to be as legit he could bless you in his office. I mean, the couple. It is still the church blessing.
Mm.
He could do that anywhere.
Yeah.
But as long as you think, I have not worn a veil and a white dress, and the man wears a suit and a tie and has all of these, the wedding train and all that, and we walk down the aisle, as long as you think you've not done that and your marriage is, you're not married,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think you're lying to yourself.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's an error most people are making.
There's one other question.
Again, I'm not rejecting that bit though.
Okay.
If you want to insist on it,
Mm-hmm.
then it's up to you. But this is the explanation I would give
Oh,
to you.
yeah, okay.
So you understand the implication of what you're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's absolutely, that was well understood. That's fine. So the context in this book deals with very matured people subjects. Do you think
Right.
it was a wise idea to hand copies to secondary school people, which you did?
Right. I think it was one of the most brilliant ideas. Now understand that knowledge is power.
Mm-hmm.
You see, you hide most of these things. Now you and I are millennials.
Mm.
We grew up with this very what word do I use? Is it a myopic mindset of thinking such topics are limited to adults? As young as teenagers, we're not meant to practice those things. We are
Yeah.
meant to be taught.
Mm.
You see what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
So understand, I give this book so you get the knowledge of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you understand what it entails. You see, a lot of youth get into school.
Mm-hmm. Sorry,
that's
we'll
what
push.
is absent in
Sorry,
our
I
curriculum.
have to push you because we're running out of time. We're coming up to the news.
Oh.
Yeah, so we're gonna. Yeah, so so I get that. So you've explained that as well. So it was good to kind of give you to be developing their knowledge. Those, especially those in the
Exactly.
secondary school. That's fine. Listen, thank you so much, Delley Singah, and author. I do or I don't. Is it I do I don't? It's
I
available on Amazon. Thank you so much for coming on to speak to talk to us about your book. We much appreciate that. That's the end of the wedding. I don't. Coming up
Thank
after
you so
the
much, Mrs. Jones.
you're
The
welcome.
pleasure's
Yeah.
mine.
Coming up after the news bulletin, join the conversation as we discuss how far people of ethnic minority background have risen to great political power here in the United Kingdom and Scotland, with the likes of Prime Minister Rishi Sunak of Indian origin, and here in Scotland, the First Minister Hamza Yousaf is of Pakistani background. Despite this historical achievement, people of immigrant communities are still facing or still targeted disproportionately are affected by the immigration policies, like the enormous increase in visa fees for foreign students to study. So after the news, we're going to be asking, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else given the opportunity? That is after the news.
On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
In recent years, people of ethnic minority backgrounds have risen to great political power here in the United Kingdom and Scotland. In the UK, the Prime Minister, Rishi Sunak, is of Indian origin. And here in Scotland, the First Minister, Hamza Yousaf, is of Pakistani background. Despite this historical and magnificent achievement of people from immigrant communities, people of ethnic minority communities continue to be targeted and disproportionately affected by immigration policies like the enormous increase in visa fees for foreign students to study here, stay or bring their relatives to visit or join people that are living here in this country. So we are asking the question, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else given the opportunity? Let's hear your opinion. We now have someone on the line to contribute on this topic. Hello? Hello, where are you calling from and what's your name? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, where are you calling from and what's your name, please?
My name is Wanjira. I'm calling from Scotland.
Thank
I'm
you,
in
Wanjiri,
Glasgow.
in Glasgow. Thank you, Wanjiri, in Glasgow. What's your contribution?
I would say that I would like to live here
Okay.
than go somewhere else
Why is that, Wanjiri?
because there are opportunities and the people are quite good. They interact with others.
Wanjiri, if you don't mind, can I ask you, where are you originally from?
I'm from Kenya.
Okay, so would you rather be here and in this country, and you rather be in Scotland than you are in Kenya?
No, there are two sides to it.
Mm-hmm.
I was saying like if living in England or Wales, I'd rather stay in Scotland.
Okay, yeah. So the question is, would you prefer to live in the United Kingdom, but you choose Scotland? So that's absolutely fine. So you would choose to live in Scotland. Thank you very much, Wanjiri. And anything else you wanted to add?
What I wanted to ask is, I was told there is like, I thought it was going to be like an interactive question.
No, that's
answers like that from there.
No, that's fine.
So,
Yes, Evangeline, just stay on. We bring on another caller on the line. Hello, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name, and where are you calling from?
I'm Dr. Patricia Iradia. I'm calling from Glasgow.
Dr. Iradia, thank you very much for calling. What's your contribution on this subject? We also have Wajiri at the other end of the call. So what's your contribution on this subject?
Oh, I've told you my name, and I'm a mother of 5.
Yes.
And mother of 11 children and a retired person.
Yes.
I cannot add social commentator to my titles because of the feedback I have received from readers of my book.
That's right. Yes, yes.
Just published. The journey goes on.
Okay.
So this topic touched a nerve with me because some of the issues around this question I discussed in my book.
Yes.
Some of the problems ethnic minority people are facing are same as everyone else or looks the same.
Yeah.
There's the issue of unemployment. Ethnic minority people are underemployed. No matter what degrees and qualifications they have, disproportionately do the low-paid jobs. Bullying at schools. I have grandchildren.
Yes.
They're bullied by students and teachers. Everyone suffers. The children suffer. When teachers frustrate children from succeeding at school, children suffer, grandchildren suffer, the ethnic minority group suffer. High cost of rent and bills. Again, ethnic minority people are the most affected. Students without families here being asked to pay £575 for rooms, as advertised on some of our forums. And then I deliberately did not start with the word racism. This is an age-long problem all over the Western world, and it is endemic and permeates and limits all aspects of our life, all proven by research and statistics. For example, maternity services, policing and justice system. We all know how ethnic minority children get overrated and high sentences.
Yeah. So would you like? Yes, Dr. Patricia Rizia. I'm getting your point. I know. We'll talk about your book in a moment, but I just want you to give your opinion on, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now?
Oh, okay. That's what I wasn't even talking about my book. I was talking about how living here is affecting everybody because nothing has really changed.
So would you like to stay? Would you like to stay
living here right now? I can't say I'm the only one affected by the bills or anything.
Yeah, the cost of living
affects ethnic minority people, even people of my age. Take for instance, housing.
Yes.
I have an elderly friend who is 81, and an ethnic minority grandmother who was forced out of her council flat by racists. It was torture. She ended up in homeless accommodation. She has to be rehoused and the problem seems to have followed her to where she is now. Have started harassing her, which a white 81-year-old woman will not experience. Institutional racism is, I mean, we are followed around. I am followed around in the shops. I'm over 65. I'm still followed around as a prospective shoplifter. You know, sometimes I feel it's just deliberate disrespect. You know, as an older person in the society, you cannot be following me around like I want to steal. Disrespect is experienced everywhere. Even at GP practice, you still experience that disrespect. You know, I phoned you once and said, oh, the medicines I was supposed to collect wasn't given to me. Oh, she insisted that I had it. I said, no, I don't have it. She said, okay, I'm going to put it in my file that you've lost it. I said, no, I didn't lose it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
And she calls back and she says, okay, we found it in the pharmacy.
Okay.
No apologies, no nothing. No, I'm sorry for being rude or making a mistake.
Yes, so Dr. Ruji, I get.
We are all suffering living in the UK. As I said.
Yes. So
We are discussing the issues that affect us negatively. I'm trying to bring about.
I just want to go over. Just stay there. Dr. Patricia Ritia. Just stay there. So let's bring in Wajiri. Wanjiri, you've heard what Dr. Patricia had to say there. What's your take? Are those some of the? Can you feel that? But you know, she's not 100% sure if she wants to stay here be given the challenges that is in the country at the moment. Are you still feeling? What do you feel?
I can relate with what she's saying. Yes.
Okay. Do you face challenges like that?
Yes.
Do you sometimes think like, oh, you know what? I'll rather be in Kenya than I'm in Scotland?
Yes. Sometimes you feel that there is quite a lot of racism.
What makes you feel that? What makes you feel that?
Because I've stayed even in England, I think it is everywhere. Yes, and then even when you watch the news, you see even in other countries that racism is being subjected to people in all the countries. So, it's like a pandemic, I would say.
It's a pandemic. Okay, let's get another caller in, another perspective. Just stay on the line there, Wanjiri. I'm really appreciating this conversation. So let's bring in the other caller. Please, can you tell us your name and where you're calling from?
I'm calling. Oh, you are taking another.
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. So go ahead, Wanjiri.
No. I was saying.
Yes.
Is like racism is there. And even especially at places of work. Yes.
So you would rather, but you still prefer to stay in Scotland than you would stay anywhere else.
You got children here, and you got grandchildren. So living is like leaving everything you have behind, you know.
Yes. So let me just read we got text messages that are coming in, and we have a message that's come in here, and this is from I think Dr. Davison Chidemana, who is at Chadamana, yes, and he wrote. It's a really challenging topic. The world is in chaos. We are here because we left there because they were there. We have a sense of belonging and relative safety. That is, I think that's relating to what you're saying there, Wanjiri. Skim the surface, and we haven't moved. Some black faces at the top, they become part of the elite. What's worse is some of their views on immigration and challenging some of their views on immigration, challenging what allowed their forebears here. Sadly, Rishi is just a rich Indian and Hamza is a Muslim. Boris and Charles are their own. Where is Kwateng? He's asking. We are not we are not there yet. Really, reality is. Reality is preferred. Reality is we prefer it here, but the reason for that might disappear in an instant. Europe and the world are unsafe. Watch Gaza. So, do you get the sentiment that Dr. Davison Chedemana is expressing there? Dr. Patricia, can you side with that sentiment of the black people that are at the top are elites? They basically have joined a club where they don't look at themselves as being ethnic minority.
Thank you very much for coming back to me. I would just like to correct the notion that I would rather not be living here. No, I haven't said that. Actually.
Okay.
I don't mind living here because there is problem everywhere in the world. Wherever you are, be part of the social change. Make your contribution and not sweep things under the carpet. Having a prime minister, first minister, positive step in the right direction. More needs to be done at the grassroots level. Affect 98% of ethnic minority people. Having Obama, for instance, as president, monumental, but it did not stop the KKK, other racist groups from terrorizing the black community. Even got more irate. Agree that this could have happened and they couldn't stop it. We cannot stop the debate.
Yes.
The positive changes can be seen permeating all aspects of our lives. Like as Dr. Chimamanda said, here, our children are here, our grandchildren are here, our home now. If you run to any other country, back home, have a different set of problems. What brought us here is another topic because everybody moves around in the world. It's all mixed up. We are one race of people. This is what we are fighting for. Cannot stop this debate. Positive changes seen permitting all aspects of ethnic minority. Here to stay. We shouldn't put one leg in, one leg out. Our children are here. Our grandchildren are here.
Right. Yeah.
So we can't continue seeing ourselves, for instance, discussing issues that affect people positively.
Okay.
Trying to bring about awareness, possible solution, not negate all the good in the society.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Erisia.
Let me just conclude.
Yes, please.
Just conclude. It is simply the fact that profound issues like racism be swept under the carpet. So the psychological, personal, and social effects recipients. Want to use the word victims.
Dr.
We are not victims. We are human beings.
I absolutely agree. Thank you. Sorry, I wasn't cutting you off. I'm sorry to jump in there. It's just because I just wanted to correct something. I referred to Mr. Davison Chedemana as a doctor. So no, but it's not. I think I was just pulling on from the flow of your title there. So but he's not a doctor. And then he's basically agreeing with what you are saying. And he's been in this country since 1974. So I think he's experienced it all. But I think the basics and context of the question was trying to just see how the mood of the country, and this is conversation that which also Mr. Davison alluded in his message here, that is really difficult, and some of these conversations are being cancelled in the mainstream. So, which is why we brought it here, so that we can have this conversation. I know, Dr. Ridia, you've written a really nice book. I don't know. I think you can have the opportunity to plug your book a bit now.
Thank you very much. Basically, you cannot write a book that does not touch on the issues in the society, because my book is a book of lived experiences, both back home in Nigeria, in Africa, and here and living here in the UK. I have 5 children. The oldest is 42. They were all born here. I've seen it all. When we talk about racism, it's not a joke. My book, a child who was told by a teacher, do this by yourself, or did your dad do it for you? I mean, that is, and she was on that mark. Despite all the effort she put into that project, she was on that mark because the teacher could not bring herself to believe that child can have such a intellect. They try to bring you down everywhere you go. I mean, you sit on the bus. You always have 2 seats to yourself. When the bus is full, even when the train is full, you have 2 seats to yourself. These are all the issues, some of the issues that I raised and gave examples. I said before, it means that everything is bad in the country, but we are here to discuss ills are.
Absolutely. I'll see if I can bring one.
Affecting people. Things that can be changed.
Yes.
We are not here to say, oh, I went to a party yesterday, I was dancing, so I was happy. I went to this, or because one person he made a prime minister, we think that there are no problems. Problems are there.
Yeah. So
problems are still there.
So so despite the change of representation at the very top of the political institutions in the United Kingdom, you know, with your lived experience and the context that the content that you have in your book, there are still a lot of issues to deal with.
Yes, at everyday level.
At the grassroots level.
That we know that grassroots. If you read my book, policing, for instance, in the car with my son, he was taking me to Buchanan bus station, the funeral to attend in London. Police stopped us. I've seen the harassment he was subjected to. It was the second time the police were stopping him. And that same week, he was a student in Strathclyde at the time. Strathclyde Uni. He was searched, he was harassed. They folded their hands and were touching his chest. When he raised his hands to explain, I quickly jumped out of the car. Hands down, put your hands down, put them straight. To say that he assaulted them if he's them in error while explaining. Hands down, and he now had to stand soldier faithfully. It was all very humiliating. Attempt to humiliate him and make him less like a man. And I was told, go back in the car, sit in the car. They touched the car, they lay down on the road, touched all the tires, came back with have a loose thread on one tire. Give him, was it 3 or 6 points on his license? Who gives a young man on his license for one loose tire thread on a tire? And there he ran to the vulcanizer. The vulcanizer said there is nothing wrong with this tire. Any change? I said change it anyway because come across the same again tomorrow. These are the kind of harassments that our children, our sons experience.
And these are all content that are in the book. So so there's another text message here. We need to open a meaningful dialogue. We need race on the agenda, even with the anxiety that causes. Items not on the agenda cannot be discussed. So we need to have more sessions like this. I totally agree with you. I think that's Mr. Davison Chademana. Yes, I hope I pronounced that correctly. So most of us who are here made a free choice to be here, to migrate. So we are here now. So we don't have to feel any other option. We don't have to feel any other option. So let me just ask you, where can people find your book, and what's the title of your book again, Dr. Patricia Eridia?
The title of my book is Journey Goes On.
The Journey Goes On.
Journey Goes On. Of life's adventure.
Yeah.
On Amazon.
It's on Amazon.
Type Patricia Eridia. Jump out.
Yeah.
The Journey Goes On.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
They are not,
yeah. No, I'm listening.
Thank you. I said it would be good for you to get a copy of that book because it will help a lot of people.
No, I do have a copy.
raising
I do
their
have a
children
copy.
in
I've
this
read.
country
Yes.
because I've raised 5 kids.
Yeah,
And I have to tell you that boy was being harassed when he was in Strathclyde Uni studying pharmacy. He also went back and studied medicine. Today he's a trainee GP. He's a responsible citizen contributing to this community. I just want to say that there is hope. Despite all attempts to intimidate and hold black children down, we need to teach them resilience.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. So,
resilient.
yeah, just remind listeners that if you're listening on DAB, you can still phone in. You can phone in on 0141 530 2788. You can text or WhatsApp us on 0745 and 990 6822. So those are the way you can contact us. And if you want to DM us, you can DM us on our Instagram, which is jamboradio.scotland, and we are also on Facebook. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, you can send us a message on the comment section, or you can DM us as well on our Jambo Radio Scotland Facebook page. If yeah. Okay, so sorry, I think I've been told that I've made a mistake on the number. So it's 0141 530 2787. That's 2787. That's the number. That's a telephone number to get through to the studio direct, and we will take your call. So we're looking to take more calls. We're discussing, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else, given the opportunity? How do you feel? We've come a long way. In recent years, there has been a lot of ethnic minority people of ethnic minority backgrounds that have risen to the great political institutions in the United Kingdom. And we have Rishi Sunak as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. There is Hamza Yusuf, who is of Pakistani background, and he is the First Minister of Scotland. And despite this sort of achievement, race achievement, but there is still the immigrant communities, basically people of ethnic minority communities, continue to be targeted as and affected by immigration policies like the increase in visa fees for foreign students. And also, if you want to bring, I don't know what it costs now, but if you want to bring your spouse who is foreign, if you have a foreign spouse, you have to be earning, I think, nothing less than 30-something thousand pounds, and for a basic. Yeah, so that's quite a lot of money. And so if you're not earning that much, and you can't be allowed to bring that. So I think we're coming up to 28 minutes. 28 minutes after 12. We're waiting for your calls, and we'll be speaking to Dr. Patricia Eridia, who is the author of a new book that's available on Amazon. And the title of the book is The Journey Goes On. And she was sharing some of her experiences in living as a person of ethnic minority in Scotland. We also had a call from Wanjiri, and also in Scotland. She would rather stay in Scotland. And of course, from hearing that, Baron, I think we can sense that most of the callers that we've had so far has been people of certain age. But we do have their children and grandchildren who are here, and they can also contribute their day-to-day experience at this time, because that's the parents' side of it. Those are some of the pioneer, Mr. Davidson, who has been here since 1974, has a story, and a lot of it as well. So I'm sure there are a lot of young people who are living day to day. Has much changed, has much changed in terms of race, equality, and all of that. I was in a meeting on Wednesday, Wednesday evening, it was kind of a talk on, I think, looking at how organizations can position themselves in terms of the diversity of their diversifying their workforce and things like that. So there is a lot of work that's going on, but I think, like most things, it takes time. It takes time for things to change. It takes time for for institutions to change. It takes time for policy to change. It takes time for change to happen generally. So even at an individual side of things. So it is a process, and in that process, we know how people are affected is what is most important. So today we're talking, and the topic is, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else? After this show at 1 p.m., we have Basolo. Basolo is a bilingual program in French and in Lingala. And Guy Bola is going to be Guy Bola and Jean-Michel, who are the hosts. We'll be talking to a very special guest, and they have a guest. Their guest is an artist, I think an international renowned artist. Find out about that. I'll give you more details a bit later. But I think it's about time that we can go for the news, because I've been running out of time on this. So if you want to call, the lines are still open. 530 2787. That's the telephone number to come through, or you can text us on the 0745 990 6822.
On your mobile phone and on all social media platforms. Jambo Radio.
You're welcome back. You're stay tuned to Jambo Radio, and you're listening to BB's African News Magazine show. Sitting in for BB is myself, George Tar. And of course, we still have a caller on the line. Is that Dr. Patricia Eridia? Are you still there? Okay, I think she's busy. Yeah, so we're asking the question, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else, or if given the opportunity, would you rather be living somewhere else? So the telephone number to call is 0141 430 2787. That's 2787. I think I need my glasses on, or go to Specsavers or something like that. Oh, that's a free advert. Right, that's fine. So, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else? So please hit the numbers. You can see that the topic we're discussing on the screens there. If you're watching us live on the Facebook, excuse me. And of course, you can text as well 0745 990 8622. Is there another caller on the line there? I think I can hear someone's coming on. Hello. Hello, where are you calling from? Okay, maybe not. Okay, we lost that caller. So we're asking, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? So this is despite the achievement of people of immigrant communities. Ethnic minority communities continue to be targeted and affected by immigration policies. An example of that is the recent enormous increase in visa fees for foreign students to study, stay, or bring their relative to visit. And if you're already living here, it's also become so expensive If you are here, you're married, and your wife is in a foreign country, for you to bring them, whether it's in Africa or wherever, for you to bring them over, you will have to be earning at least. Baron, is that right to say over 30 grand? Okay, yeah. So you have to be earning over 30 grand. So that's how much it costs now for you to be able. So I don't know. So 30 grand will be a really high skill job in Scotland. So and to be earning that amount of money. So for people doing, low, perhaps not is it low skill jobs? Yes, you can say that. So yeah, people without a high skill job will not be earning that amount of money, and the average salary is around 20 grand, 19, 20 grand. So I don't see how that is particularly feasible. So we're asking, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? The standard of living, the cost of living crisis is ongoing in the UK. The economy is going down, and there is an election looming as well, which always creates a lot of instability. And right now, is Britain still the place of sanctuary? Is it still the place for great education? Is it is it still a place where you find safety? Other callers have given different views, but you can see that from some of the comments that we read out earlier and some of the contributions that we've had, there is it's sort of a generation who are basically embedded here, and to make that decision is a whole lot, because it's generations of families that have been in the country for over 30, 50 years, so around that. So that is different. But recent changes, they might have faced their own challenges as well. But recent changes in terms of the political, institutions, having a prime minister of ethnic minority background and a first minister in Scotland of ethnic minority background, how does that make you feel? As an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom? Exciting right now? Is it exciting? Is it frustrating? Is it what is it? How do you feel? Tell us. You can hit the numbers now. It's 0141 430-2787. You can tell I'm mixing up the numbers there because I'm usually not a presenter. So, and BB is away. So I have to stand in. So you can text the studio. It's 0745 990 6822. You can also send us a DM on the. You can also send us a DM on our Facebook page. So there's another caller on the line. Hello, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hi, my name is Guy Samuel Njelibola. I'm calling from Glasgow.
Hi, Guy. How are you? What's your contribution as an ethnic minority person? How does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now for you?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I didn't know about this program today, but when I went to the group and I heard about it, I was driving. Right now, I'm parking. I come to the studio, but I say, no, I need to contribute because the topic is really interesting and I involve myself as well.
Yes.
For me, I would say that I feel like you integrate and enjoy Scotland. But if I want to talk for around me, in my community, or the people I know, friend, or colleague, whatever, many of them are struggling, really struggling. Some of them are situation like paper, you know what I mean? They don't have establishment here, the student visa, so it's really, really tough for them. And the new regulation now doesn't have at all. So I would say that as a community, we need to, if possible, to build kind of a structure to support each other. We don't have it really.
Yeah.
We really need it. That's my contribution there.
Okay, thank you very much. So we need to reinforce the community resilience. Is that what you mean?
Exactly, yes.
Okay. No, that's fine. So, Guy Jalibola is a presenter, and he's the one after me. So he's coming in. So he's making his way to the studio. So, but thank you for contributing, Guy. So please make sure you park safely. Don't stay on your phone. And I'll see you. We'll see you in the studio very soon. So
Okay.
yeah, see you in the studio very soon. Thank you very much for your contribution.
Okay, sir.
So yeah,
Okay,
that's
bye. See
good.
you.
So yeah, excellent. So we're asking the question: how, as an ethnic minority, a person, how does he feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere else with all what is going on in the country? We've had a lot of changes, a lot of development, but right now we still continue to be affected by immigration policies, like increases in terms of okay, that's fine. Okay, so I think okay, there's another caller on the line. Hello. No, I'm not sure. So it's coming up to it's 12:44 now. You're listening to Jambo Radio for those of you that are on DAB, and if you're listening on our mobile app, of course, you know that you're on Jambo Radio. That's what it is. Yes, and for those of you that are watching or finding out about Jambo Radio for the first time, you're welcome to Jambo Radio Scotland. We are here to empower and represent the voices of people of African and Caribbean heritage right here in Scotland. And if you are familiar with some of our broadcasts, after this is Basolo, which replace Parlons-en, and Basolo is a program in Lingala and French. And today, the host will be in the company of a great artist. So I just looked that up. I checked that. They just sent that through, not to me. So let me see. Yes. So who is going to be on the Basolo today? Oh, that's a different thing. Right, okay. No problem. So we can always check that. That's a different piece of information. That's the beauty of live broadcasting. Things happen simultaneously. Okay, so there's, I think, so we're asking the question, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in Scotland right now? To be living in the United Kingdom right now, actually, I beg your pardon. Yeah, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Give us your opinion. Of course, you can hit the numbers. The telephone number to reach the studio is 0141 530 2787. I think we can go for an advert break, and then I'll come back and take another call and some of your messages that you've been sending through, so I'll read them out as well. Can we go for an advert break? And of course, we are asking the question, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be somewhere else? So we've got them on the Facebook. We have Robert Opro. Robert wrote on immigration. Suella Braverman, Priti Patel, and Rishi Sunak have been a disgrace and betrayed all ethnic minorities in this country. That's what Robert Opro has said. And there is also a comment from Princess Zele Camila Epia Fekeme. And okay, I think she just said hello, Jambo Radio. Okay, I think she's following the show there. And there is another comment from Davidson Chedemana. He say they used against their own just self-promotion. So I think in the context that those ethnic minorities right at the top of the political the politics of this country, or the political powerhouse, are using their platform or using their position for self-promotion rather than looking at the community, and looking at the community that they come from. So that was the comment on the Facebook page. And okay, So I think we do have a text message as well that's come through, and so it's okay. That's fine. That's a suggestion. So yes, that's a suggestion from Mr. Davison. So his kid has different views of course of what he thinks. It'll be good to have one of your children to participate, to give their own opinion and their own perception and views on this. They are the future, of course, and true. I agree with that. We are history, Mr. Davison, but it'll be good to know what this young people, the kids born here. And let's not forget that Suella Braverman was born here, and all the other people that have been mentioned were born here as well. But it's whether what will they change? So we have another caller on the line. Hello, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
Hi, my name is Kame.
Hiya.
I'm calling from Scotland.
Yes.
Precisely Glasgow.
Yes, Sammy.
Yeah, so I just joined the show, though
Fine.
I've not really followed up like what is really happening, but from the topic.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
I'll just brief you.
So the topic, yeah.
Yeah, so what we're asking today is, as an ethnic minority person, how does it feel like to be living in the United Kingdom right now? Would you rather be living somewhere or else, given the opportunity, or you don't mind to stay? I mean, you're in Scotland, so you don't mind to continue staying in this country. This is because we've had changes at the political top offices in the United Kingdom. We have Richard Sunak, who comes from an Indian background. We have in Scotland, we have Hamza Youssef, who is the first minister, come from an ethnic minority background. How do you feel?
Yeah, I think the opportunity, I would think I'm from Cameroon, that's the West Africa.
Yes.
Yeah, so I would think if I have to compare, to be sincere, if I have to compare my home country to me living in Scotland, precisely Glasgow at the moment, I would say I prefer living in Scotland.
You prefer living
or the United Kingdom.
Okay.
Yeah. So because I've not lived in any other country, that I would say maybe I rather be. If I have to compare with my home country, I would say I prefer living in Scotland. I think Scotland has been good to me. The people in Scotland has been good to me. So I think everything in Scotland, like especially because what I prioritize more is my health. And I think health-wise, if I compare back to my country, I would think I'm better off here in the United Kingdom than going back or living back in my country. So I think living in Scotland for me, I don't think I would like maybe living somewhere else. And like I said, I've not lived in any other country apart of my country. So I won't really say I will have to compare maybe with other countries, but my country and United Kingdom, I think I would prefer living in the United Kingdom.
Okay, that's definitely Princess Delley. So you that's a personal choice, which is quite good.
Yeah,
and
it's a personal choice.
Yeah,
it's a personal choice.
Yeah, but do you think the people like the people in the political class, do they represent you, the ethnic minority people in the political class?
Yeah, the people in the what I would say is you see the fact that we got like other ethnic minorities, like we got like the Indian, like you said, like the Pakistan.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
I think for me, I would say it's a good thing. So we, like I said, I'm from Cameroon.
Yes.
So maybe we, as our own people from Cameroon as well, maybe we have to maybe get involved as well. Because if we don't get involved, if we have to stay back, it will be difficult for us to be involved, maybe even in the political issues. I think we have to get involved as well. Because staying back won't help us. So we have to push to get involved for them to know us as well. Because if we are not involved, they won't recognize us. So we have to push for us to be recognized as well.
Absolutely.
So I don't know if I'm really but like I said, I just joined in.
Yes.
So, but the topic,
very good point. Very good point. Very good point there. Thank you very much for calling, and really appreciate that. So we're coming up to 5 minutes to 1, and I think Guy Jali Bola is already around the corner to get in and to start the next show. Thank you very much for the call, for all of you that has been calling. Okay, all right, okay, Q. So coming up next, we have the sports show. Is it Planet Sport Football? It's Planet Sport Football that's coming up in the next in the next 5 minutes. So we got just about 5 minutes to go. So perhaps we should have one more call possible. And then if there's any comment or any text message, please send them through on the number. It's 0141. The number to get through to the studio is 0141 530 2787. That's 0141 530 2787. And you can text or WhatsApp our studio 0745 990 6822. Those are the numbers that you can get through. So let me go back to the text and read. There's text message here. I'll get access to that. So let's read this text message. And okay, I think that's the text message that I read before. Okay, and let's see, is there any new text message? So we're asking, as an ethnic minority person, I think in this call, what we've learned, of course, is a lot of people that have called, they prefer to stay, they live in Scotland, they prefer to stay here, which is interesting. And we also have a text message here, which is from, that's from Dr. Patricia Eridia. I want to add that it's a pity that problems of discrimination and racism that we experienced 40 years ago is still with us today, even worse in some aspects like immigration. My suggestion is, she says, my suggestion is not to call ourselves victims or behave like victims. We are here to stay, so teach your children resilience. My book advises parents, her book, which is available on Amazon. And I think we're going to have Dr. Patricia Eridia at some point in the studio to talk about her book. Maybe in the next week, I'm sure I'll find out from the production team. So, and she says, my advice, my book advises parents, especially mothers, on how to raise kids in white dominated environment. Teach positivity, she says. Teacher did not give you 40%. Teacher did not give you 40%, you got 40%. Okay, so that's what she's saying. And make them feel that they belong here, and they will feel lost. Sorry. Yeah, so I'm just reading through to that text now. And she also said, there are good things here. My children have done well. So let's not only dwell on the negative. Our countries have their own problems, or of not providing basic amenities of their for their citizens, and they have tribalism as well. Let our communities form social capital to support each other. I think I totally agree with that, Dr. Patricia. Yeah, so we just got a minute to go. I think there's one more last text that has just come in. The reality is that all ethnic minority, I don't think a message here. Sorry, I can't see the name. But the reality is that all UK minority ethnic MPs are politicians. They are not representative of the minorities, but political ideologies. At the end of the day, they are after their own careers. Any expectations on our part is a fallacy. This is what this text message is saying. So please, next time anyone, send your text message, send your name. I think it's Nasim. Yes, Nasim. That's the name that's come through. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for those of you that have listened and contributed. We want to thank all of you that called in today. And of course, that's it from me. I'm Brandon. Hopefully, Bibi is back next week and you'll be in a company. Otherwise, it's a good bye for me and bye for Baron as well.